Okay, here's that F-22 that we pulled out of that Honda Accord. And first things first, the first gentleman that made a post and comment on my video saying that that was not a 98, dude, you were so right. And I did mention that in the comments, but the F-22B2 was not available in 98. Not in an Accord, not in America. I don't know that it was available in 98, but that out of the way, that really is neither here nor there. I did want to give credit where credit's due, and that gentleman was correct. This is not out of a 98. So, that said, I wanted to show a couple of things today. I was going through and cleaning things up, and there's the transmission, and in that bucket and in that little thing there, that's about all we salvaged out of the car, outside of the motor here, with all the wiring and the ECU and the motor fuse box. That's what this is right here. So one thing that I wanted to show was, because I was told that the transmission exploded, and I was thinking like, holy crap, you know, were they doing like nasty ass neutral drops or clutch drops or whatever out of this thing, and you know, just like ripping the hell out of it? I don't believe that was the case. I believe they actually were having trouble getting it apart when they were trying to change the clutch. And I'll show you why here. When you're looking at the bell housing end of this motor, nice machined edge. Obviously some shit got in between there over the years. But when I got down over this way and started looking at things, because when I was like, hey, I gotta put this guy in the engine stand. You guys laughing yet? Okay. See the bolt sticking through, and I've got this loose already. It's only hand tight just to show. But yeah. So let me run this bolt out while I talk and explain my theory. I believe that they never found this bolt when they were trying to get the transmission out of the car. And I believe that they took a great big pry bar to the transmission at the front and tried to pry this thing apart. And when they finally did get it to separate, it went pow! Kind of like that, but probably a lot louder. And the pow would have been this piece staying on the motor that was supposed to have come with the transmission when it was separated. That's what I believe happened. And that piece, if I'm not mistaken, that piece comes from right about here on the transmission. Let me see if I can't line this up like that. And it got busted off. Yep. So that motor is going to need attention. I'm going to go inside the motor and see what I can see, because seeing this, I can't say very good things. What's up, wife?
We're ready.
Okay, so I can't say very good things about what's going on inside that motor. So this goes in a shit can, and I'm going to go to eBay and look for the F-22 rebuild kit. And this motor has to come apart, because I just plain don't trust it. I was going to throw it in. I was going to say, fuck it, whatever. I was going to ignore that fucking nest that was in there. But I can't do any of that. And when I started looking, got the flywheel. Flywheel is actually missing one of the clutch bolts here. I've got clutch bolts, and I had none of the actual flywheel bolts. These are D-series flywheel bolts from an automatic. And the D-series, just like you see here, D-series only has 6 bolts on the flywheel. And they're in a little bit, you know, different spacing to where it only needs 6 bolts. There's not quite as much motor there. There's not quite as much torque there. So I'm going to steal flywheel bolts off of the Minions clutch and flywheel. And that clutch needed to be replaced anyway. So the other thing that I'm going to steal off of this clutch and flywheel will be one of the clutch bolts. And I'm going to assume that that lines right up, because everything else just seemed to line right up except for the actual dimension. Let's do a side-by-side. Just to say. See? So the F-series is definitely bigger diameter. But the bolts themselves, flywheel bolt and clutch bolts, I know the flywheel bolts are the same because I've had this flywheel on that motor with D-series bolts. I was just too shy. So I'm going to steal them out of there. And yeah, as I keep going, I'll document whatever else I find. Another thing for the record is that the shift fork was not with the car. I got this shift fork off of eBay, 20 bucks. Not a bad deal. I'm gonna end up opening that transmission and having to fucking check it out too. So far, I'm 20 bucks into this on that shift fork, because everything else came and I got my money back out of the scrapper. So it's 20 bucks into this. Okay. And a couple of pizzas and beer for Jared. And he actually still has some beer here. Some of them Keystones. Yeah. But yeah, so that's that. As I dig into this further, I'll go ahead and share with you folks. But it's time for me to run. Have a good day. Thanks for watching. I am starting to take the wiring. Well, I've got the motor wiring harness off. So the majority of the wiring is off of this thing. You know, I've still got spark plug wires and a lot of vacuum and stupid stuff. But there's my motor wiring harness that we pulled with that motor. Now in the last clip, I did misspeak, because I said that these bolts that I had here, the flywheel bolts, I said those were automatic, but they're not. This is a manual transmission bolt. Come on. Here we go. This bolt is for the manual transmission. That is longer than the automatic transmission bolt. There's the automatic transmission bolt. We get them side by side. Manuals on top, automatics on the bottom. Okay, and the reason for that difference is when you look at the automatic flywheel and a manual flywheel, that extra distance, that extra length on that bolt, damn you focus, is because of the difference in thickness. And this guy would actually, that end would go onto the flywheel or onto the crank, and you bolt it from this end. So because of the difference in thickness of what you have to bolt through to get to your actual threads, that's why the manual bolts are longer. So I misspoke, and these are actually manual bolts, manual flywheel bolts, and it's the same size from the D to the F, at least as far as I've seen so far. So that's that note out of the way. And next order of business is going to be tearing this motor apart. Santa Claus looks like he's fucking peeing off the roof. Woo! Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. That's tough to beat.
Now that's some holiday spirit.
Yup,
right
there's
there.
some holiday cheer going on right there.
We're on the streets.
There's old Santa Claus. Where? Let's see. He's peeing off the roof like hardcore peeing off the roof. There he is. There he is. He is like straight up peeing off the roof.
How is it coming